Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Overwatch video where today I'm going over when and where you want to pick DPS characters. This will be nailed down in two parts because they're the vast majority of the characters in the game. And we'll start off with Bastion. Bastion, of course, is a very niche pick. He's kind of boom or bust. There are definitely some maps and some team strategies in order to make Bastion work, but you know, the map can definitely make an impact on that as well, but sometimes a surprise Bastion can kind of work anywhere, and Bastion can also fall apart if the team is not coordinating around Bastion being their centerpiece. So Junkertown, obviously, running the pirate ship is where Bastion seems to be best in my experience. Very easy to bunker him down there, and he can kind of control space anywhere he wants to as long as he's not getting hooked or walled or pulled off of the cart. Obviously, Bastion is great on Junkertown. Nepal Village, I was trying to think of like a control place where he might be good. Nepal Village, in my experiences, where he's seen the most effect in control. Easily a surprise coming right out the gate, especially if you speed boost, get behind a Reinhardt, and shred a shield or an enemy or two, easily get the point, and just hiding in the corner of the objective is going to make you quite difficult to tear down, especially if the enemy is not walling them off with a Mei and able to centralize their attention on that Bastion. He could be quite difficult. Attack Numbani Streets phase especially, I've seen Bastion be usable. Not so great at taking point A, and some, you know, mild success on point C, but it's Streets phase where Numbani, where I've seen Bastion have the most amount of success, obviously on attack on the cart, but not necessarily on the cart, but just more often. And he's kind of a really good surprise pick in a lot of instances on, especially say a 2CP like a Volskaya, especially if you're like on an overtime and you just need the first point so you can, you know, get the shield break, surprise them because you didn't run a Bastion the first or second round. You come out with the Bastion, and if they're not ready for it, that's the best way to play Bastion, is when the enemy doesn't see it coming. So if you just need the first point, or if you just need to full hold on point A on like Route 66, setting up a Bastion on top of the gas station absolutely works, or getting him on the payload, as long as the enemy didn't use a Bastion, so they're not going to expect you to use one, and as obviously if you hadn't used one before. So that's when Bastion is best utilized. So small doses is where Bastion will be effective. Too much Bastion, absolute garbage. Then we have Doomfist. Doomfist can work quite well as his own solo slayer out there. Elios, I feel that he's very, very useful, especially on Well and Lighthouse. Lots of walls, corners to get around and hide after using up all of your cooldowns, and a lot of high ground to surprise people from in those backlines. Lijiang Control Center and Night Market, I feel, is where Doomfist is at his best. Once again, lots of close quarters walls, especially in Night Market. You can also get some boops and corners to get behind. And in Control Center, you can go for the high ground, and you have that pillar in the middle of the point to kind of bide your time behind while your cooldowns are going off. He can contest a lot of that map, more so than other DPS with burst damage. And Oasis University, I feel that Doomfist can absolutely carry there, given some sort of support, but he can really, really be crazy as long as either he's playing with the team or they follow up on his initial engagements. You want him either be the tip of the spear or just the engine block of a well-oiled machine. And also, he can be very good on attack point A's on like Volskaya or Hanamura, where the team may be bunkered down with the Norisa or something like that. Say you're on Volskaya, he can get up on the top right little cubby hole where you see Genjis and Hanzos sometimes, and you know, disrupt whatever the main tank might be, toss them up in the air, and the rest of your teammates can go in forward. Same with Hanamura on the top left cubby hole. You can get that surprise angle from above, just cause chaos or take care of a healer, and that might be all you need, and sometimes Doomfist can allow you to do that. Next we have Genji. Genji's kind of one of those plug-and-play characters that's really good everywhere, you know, especially if you're running dive. But some maps where you aren't necessarily going to be running dive, where he's still going to be useful as a solo slayer, we all see Genji's pop off in matchmaking no matter what. He's really good on Dorado. Plenty of space there. You can climb those walls, get those flanks. Hanamura attack especially, I feel like Genji can be quite useful, although it might not be his best. Ilios, I feel like he's very, very good. And Nepal is my favorite place to play Genji. You have a lot of area to stall the point on the objective. You got flanking routes, and you can kind of hold with Reflect. And there's also areas to flank around, either to pick off a straggler or someone just going off on their own. Genji's going to be a great duelist for those circumstances. And also, he's amazing on Oasis City Center, especially, where a lot of people are going to be running dive with Winston and Orisa, as I mentioned in the tank video. Next, we have the other Shimada bro, Hanzo, who has, you know, seen a lot more prominence since his rework, but it doesn't really change how good he is on a lot of points. Hollywood point A, I feel like he's really good on attack and defense. I think especially defense. He can maintain high ground and is a bit more serviceable than Widowmaker might be, especially if they're just running Death Ball and you know exactly where they're going to be coming from and tunneling single file. King's Row attack, of course, that's where Hanzo was always good regardless. Now, with the new changes, he's serviceable on defense on King's Row as well. Obviously, where Zarya and Reinhardt are going to be good, you're going to get a lot of dragon grabs, and dragon grabs, you're never going to get as much consistent power than on King's Row, especially on attack. Hanamura, I think he can do quite well. Kind of like with Doomfist, get it in that top little cubby hole to cause some damage. Before, it was with the scatter arrow. Now you can just, you know, get a headshot on a squishy and then finish him off with a volley, or get some big chunk damage into a tank, like an Orisa or a Diva that doesn't have her defense matrix facing you, or a Reinhardt, obviously, and then the rest of your team can clean up. Volskaya attack, I feel like Hanzo can be quite good as well. He's not very good on defense there, in my opinion. He's just not going to be able to do as much, whereas in the attack, he can kind of pick and choose his spots a little bit more, both on point A and point B, more so depending on your playstyle and what kind of team comp you're running. You might be better on one point or the other. And he might actually be pretty decent on Numbani as well. There is quite a bit of room, and will have a bit more consistent success, I feel like, sometimes than a Soldier, especially if you're not very good at Soldier, but you've honed your Hanzo skills. And I don't think, contrary to popular opinion, that Hanzo is very good on Junkertown. I know that's where this double sniper meta started, even before his changes, but I haven't really seen much success from Hanzo on Junkertown, and I would not recommend on attack or defense. And next we have Junkrat, who I personally believe is the absolute best attacker in matchmaking on Lunar Colony. Before the changes to the map and after, he's able to maintain high ground control, get to the high grounds on the A point a lot quicker on attack, and spam down on the point from above. And obviously he's going to be charging Tire a lot more. Your best way at stopping Triple Tank from going in on the attack is a defensive Junkrat. You're getting that ult charged really quick. And obviously on the point B, you can get up to the scaffolding on defense and hold there. And also on attack, spamming from up top, whether taking out whoever is challenging you on the high ground or down onto the bottom. As long as there's not a sniper in the back left corner, Junkrat's going to have pretty good time, and his tires can get absolute money bombs on Lunar Colony. Anubis Junkrat is really good there, especially due to the power of his tire, both attack and defense. Tire is absolutely devastating on Anubis because you need quick, big team kills in order to take those points on Anubis, especially on point B, and the tire's the best way to do that. Genji Blade is going to be a little bit more inconsistent. Maybe you know, you'll get stopped more often, especially if you're not getting nanos, but Junkrat, your average Junkrat player is going to get his tire every 40 seconds, so utilizing that sort of power is really, really good on Anubis. Obviously, he's got some home field advantage in Junkertown. He's quite serviceable there with his pal Roadhog. Gibraltar, I've always felt that Junkrat was serviceable on Gibraltar attack and defense. He can maintain some high ground control, tons of spam, and people kind of tend to play a little bit too organized on Gibraltar on attack or defense, and Junkrat can pick that apart with a lot of splash damage, especially with his 2 mines. Eichenwald, he can be quite decent as well. If you run him on attack, you can get a nice early kill very quickly. You'll get your ult before anybody else. And on defense, he can kind of be super duper suffocating, and I don't see enough of that on Eichenwald. King's Row, quite serviceable, really good at defending Hotel, and obviously you're going to have narrow streets phases where he's just going to be spamming and getting tires all day, every day, especially at point C, especially if you can maintain that high ground where he's not going to be challenged nearly as much. Lijiang Tower, I feel like he's also pretty decent. And Nepal, while those are a bit more spread out maps, just that chunk damage, especially with those mines, is going to be your best friend. Next up we have Mei, who I feel has always been a sleeper carrier character, especially due to 2 things in Mei's kit. Her wall, first and foremost, and second of all, her ult. Mei is always going to be your best bet for stalling a point, no matter where it is, whether it's, you know, Hanamura or Numbani or Oasis. She's going to be great. Especially at the end of Route 66, Mei's ults just destroy there. But I feel like where she's just going to be consistently really good, Eichenwald point C, she's kind of amazing. Those ice walls, I would not want another DPS if I had my druthers on my team than a good Mei. A good Mei with those ice walls will stonewall a C defense. Absolutely incredible, especially on defense, but also really good on attack for the same reasons. But those ice walls, big money, and obviously those ults will cover anybody on the cart or the final point as they're trying to stall. King's Row, defense point A, she was always very, very good. You know, splitting people off as they're going through the choke, especially a Reinhardt. He'll be the tip of the spear, ice wall him off, your teammates kill him, and then the enemy team has to reset on that King's Row attack. Numbani, defense point A as well, for a lot of those same reasons. Mei can kind of really control that high ground, which a lot of people love to do. A lot of people love to attack high left side, and Mei splits that up, allows Junkrat to get tons of guaranteed spam damage because they're walled off, and Roadhog's getting hooked on those frozen enemies. So if you're running a Mei, then the enemy is going to have to go low ground, otherwise she's just going to tear him apart. Lijiang Control Center, I feel like she's really, really good. She can spam down those corridors. She can stall on the points very well. The ult's going to cover that entirety. And she's going to be really hard to pin down because of those corners, her walls, and her ability to ice block herself and heal. Nepal Shrine, I feel like she can be quite serviceable as well. If you're just playing just a hardcore bunker defense, she's really, really going to be difficult to break, especially once the team with the Mei already has that point. And she's pretty good on Busan as well, especially mecha base, where her ice walls will protect you from damage from the high ground. A lot of people love running Torbjorns there, and she's serviceable on the ground, whether those walls are up or down, because she can kind of really control the mech room, just due to the fact of her endothermic blaster, and she can wall people off trying to go through the quick underground sites as well, splitting them off. A lot of people are just too used to being able to get through there for free, and also just spawn trapping. Mei's going to be really good there on Busan Mecha Base as well. And lastly, we'll have McCree. Not that serviceable on a ton of maps. You don't want him in a vast majority of situations, but if you do want to play McCree, these are the places where I feel that he has the most success. Eichenwald, he can be quite serviceable, more so than a soldier if you need to take out a Pharah, just because you're going to have to be looking higher for those Pharahs, and you're going to be running a lot more pharmacies there. But He's not going to be that great at taking out a pharmacy, but he's pretty good. Even on defense there, that flashbang stops teams at that first point through that bridge and is pretty good. You don't have to be super duper aggressive. You have your tanks and your healers taking the brunt of that action, and he can just kind of pick and choose his moments. Ilios is going to be your big bust or boom McCree moments. You're either going to get nothing out of McCree on Ilios, or you're going to get a ton. And especially if you're getting pocketed or if the enemy is just absolutely ignoring you, it's the perfect range for McCree to do his best amount of work. But where I feel McCree is best is Oasis, especially on City Center and University. He's going to get big high noons on those places, either to zone or to take out those Pharas or those Mercies. Easy high noons on there. He can control the high ground pretty well. You're gonna enemy team's gonna have to invest more to take out McCree in those places. And on Nepal, especially on the Inner Sanctum, where you can see a lot of soldiers and McCrees just standing back in a Widow position and just getting easy kills and getting unchallenged because of the effort it would take to go and get him and how easy the enemy team can go and protect their McCree. So he finds some quite decent use on Nepal, especially Inner Sanctum, from time to time. Your enemy can decide to absolutely shut him down, or they can ignore him and he can carry. So that is the first part of the DPS characters. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you ready for part 2. People love using DPS, but they're not going to be great in a lot of circumstances.